Should they just do what they got to do, break the bank, if you will, and we'll figure out the rest in a year or two? Feels like that's kind of what the Warriors are doing a little bit. Like next year they're going to have to make some moves. They don't know what they are yet, but they're probably going to have to make some moves to get some more financial wherewithal. I just always go back to something that Bob Myers said, and it stuck with me. I know what it's going to be. You never make a decision until you have to. That one stuck with me too. You never make a decision until you have to. Like you think this, analyze that. Oh, we're going to be in a bad way here. Like stuff happens, and it all ends up kind of changing anyway. And if you follow that, JD. Maybe that's what bodes well for Bosa coming in on Friday. Now, that's the opposite of sports talk radio, by the way. No doubt. Never make a decision before it. No, we got to make a decision every day. Absolutely. Got to make a decision every day, and it's got to be the end-all, be-all decision. You don't have to do that in reality. No, I do think, though, okay, the 49... they might have to trade Deebo Samuel next year. Okay, who cares today? Well, that's true. But I mean, but we get a lot of that. We get a lot of fans saying, "Oh yeah, Deebo gonna lose this guy." It's like, well, there's 17 games about to be played here, beginning in 4 days. Right. Worry about this. Like Deebo Samuel's not going to be a Niner his whole career. Right. He's just not. Well, and that's kind of the one thing where if I were a 49er fan, I don't mean to pick on him, but it might be Kittle. It might be somebody. It might be Ayuk. Hopefully it's not Ayuk, but let me ask you this, JD, because I always think of you as more of an impartial observer. I feel like, the last month or so, is it a negativity around the 49ers? I don't know. I think the majority of fans are excited about this year, and they should be. But I also think there's a part of the fan base that is really disappointed about where this team is, in part because of the Trey Lance trade. And now a lot of fans think, well, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't put all our trust in Kyle Shanahan. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think a lot of the vibe of negativity is more from the outside. I think it's more from the outside. And I don't even necessarily think it's the fans when I say the outside. I think it's more just kind of the daily headline, right? Yeah. I think that's more our bubble, to be honest, than the actual fan bubble, if that makes sense. And obviously there are a lot of fans that are, of course, in our bubble, and we love that. Right. But to me, it's more, I don't get the sense that there's negativity in the locker room. No. Or in the facility. I don't either. And that's even with the Bosa thing going till today. I think at this point it's still, that's a little weird, but they'll figure it out, and he'll be here eventually. Maybe not this week. Right. But maybe next week or in the next couple weeks. And again, eventually you get to a point where it's all normal, right? You get to that 2-2, 3-1, whatever, and it's all systems go. I do think look, if you're a 49er fan that believes that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch don't have the goods to get it done, and you look at this offseason, you could look at, well, wow, the Trey Lance thing was now an admitted whiff. Right. This Bosa thing has gone beyond where anybody would have imagined that it could have. And so I think if you are a fan that's already skeptical of their ability to get this team over the hump or this franchise over the hump, then there are a couple of things that have happened to where you could file that away and be angry about it and be concerned about it and be, when they don't win an NFC championship game again or get beat in the playoffs or whatever it is, you'll go, see, and you may have some ammo depending upon, but beyond that, I don't think there's a lot. Not yet. I don't think there's a lot of real vitriol at this point among the players. No, I'm just talking more among the fans. Oh, okay. I was talking about. I was separating. I don't think there's any of that in the building right now. Is there potential for it? Yes. Not right now. But I was saying more in the fan base. You were kind of bringing it as, there's people that are just annoyed with this and that and Trey Lance and all that. I think that's a relatively small percentage. I do too. A smaller percentage than we see. I absolutely. Day in, day out in our show bubble. I absolutely believe that. I think the majority it's like I called this yesterday. It's like a silent majority of 49er fans are sky high about this season, despite the Bosa thing, despite the Trey Lance thing.
And you lose week one, and it's ugly. And then life comes at you fat. Now, does that really matter? See, because
it doesn't to me.
It doesn't to me either.
Right.
I've already had this thought.
Okay.
And people are going to be like, "Oh, JD, you're being inconsistent here," because I thought the loss to the Bears last year was a big deal. I thought it was a bad sign.
Okay.
Okay. And Trey Lance ended up getting hurt, and it ended up not. So Jimmy Garoppolo took over. The season ended up going down a different path. But the Bears the 49ers lost in week one to the worst team in the NFL. The Bears wound up being the worst team in the NFL. They had the number one pick. They traded it. They were 32 out of 32. The Bears beat the Niners in the opening game. The Steelers are thought of as a playoff team, have taken the preseason extremely seriously, have maybe not had the success that they're accustomed to in recent years. Like, I've kind of followed them in the offseason, the preseason. They're very serious. They're very serious.
Sure.
Like, Mike Tomlin sets that tone, but they're, I think, at another level of, we're going to have our bleep together this year. And so, to me, that's as tough an environment to go in and win as any, right? It's up there, I think, with Kansas City and Denver and New Orleans and all of them when they're great, to go in there and win a game. Niners could lose week one and even have it be ugly. And to me, it's not a big deal at all at that point. Like, it would be completely different than losing to the Bears week one. And as it turns out, losing to the Bears week one was not that big of a deal. Now, I think it was going to be a big deal if Trey Lance had continued to be the quarterback, but he didn't, and they got on track.
You taking a shot at my Eagles?
How so?
Pittsburgh's going to be the toughest game on the schedule?
Yeah, Pittsburgh. I mean, at Philly, at Pittsburgh are probably the two, for sure. At Seattle's probably three. Always is.
But at Jacksonville this
short
year.
week. At Jacksonville's no picnic. Yeah. No, they got some games.
Yeah. Dave's in El Cerrito. What's up, Dave? How you doing, man?
Not too bad. Well, first off, Pittsburgh's, and a lot of people are predicting them to finish fourth just in their division. So they could be great, but that's a crazy division they're dealing with. So who knows what that looks like.
And the Niners play them all.
Yeah.
I know. It's brutal. And I'm a Buckeye. Bosa was the second best football player I ever saw at Ohio State. And freakish things he could do. But he broke a lot. He tore his ACL in high school, non-contact. He tore his adductor, I think, or in a TCU game, non-contact. He's built in such a way, he's such a fierce force that he's not built to last. They're paying this guy for basically what is 2 years, and they have no choice. And they have no choice because they decided to give away 3 picks to get a guy who's no longer on the team. So we were all fine with giving away those picks for Trey Lance because it was about the now. And since it's about the now, they have but no choice but to sign him and stop screwing around and talking about they're not going to sign him. Because if you don't sign him, then the 3 picks is even worse now. Then it's a total disaster. So just sign the guy, get it over with, and play football.
I didn't even make the connection there, but I guess you could. I guess you could. Why did the 49ers move off Trey Lance? There are a lot of reasons, but I think he's right because he's not good enough. He's not good enough to play on this team right now. Why not? Because we want to win a Super Bowl. Okay, well then you better get Bosa in here. You better get Bosa in here sooner rather than later. And I'm wondering if I don't know if it's a tipping point, but do you hold this again? Not hold it against, but how do you measure the fact that John Lynch has been downplaying this for 6 months, and now here we are 5 days before game one, and they don't have their best defensive player in camp. I listen, if John Lynch would have played it like, listen, we're talking about one of the best defensive players in football, maybe as a Hall of Fame track. We're going to try to get something done, but it always takes 2, and I would never say that this is going to be assured. I would never promise, but we want to do it. But he gave us, I think, the impression that they were going to get Bosa in camp. And he was going to be here, weeks ago. And the first week or two, big deal. But now, now it's getting to panic time a little bit.
I think they knew.
Well, they knew do you think they knew he was going to sit this? Or
I think they knew it was possible, and I think they were. I think all of their downplaying it was fake downplaying it. In fact, I think we may have the clip from July 25th in the very first press conference. I'm sitting, and look, maybe I'm just really good at reading people, and from being in those rooms a lot and kind of knowing when something sounds like a different answer compared to other answers that they've given. But to me, that first John Lynch answer told me this is a holdout. Like, this is not, we're cool with him not being here. And even, Kyle, you don't want to be body language guy with Kyle because sometimes he has some weird body language. But Kyle was just kind of had that look like kind of like he was annoyed. Like, he was annoyed already, not at the question, but just at the fact that he's not here. I want him here. Like, we're trying to win a Super Bowl. Like, it'd be one thing if he was here and not practicing, but the fact that he's not here means it's not close. Like, to me, there was a lot more to it.
Well, and
I think they told us there was a lot more to it if you were paying attention. But again, maybe I'm just uber.
What did Lynch say? It's going to be complicated?
Yeah, it is just the tone. It was just different. It was not Debo or Kittle or Warner or any of these guys.
You know what? It is funny, and I wonder how 49er fans...
I've been all over this one. I've been all over this is going to be longer than people think. It's going to be more contentious maybe than people think. It's going to be a bigger number than people think. Nobody should be surprised by that.
510, I wonder why nobody's calling Bosa selfish, like almost every other player that does this. I
think people are.
Yeah, I think people... I mean, if you're on a side, what side are you on?